right, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. Welcome once more to another video podcast of Political News Time. I am your hostess, Alex Mayers, and I am sleepy, but I was determined that I was going to make it at least once this freaking week at this regularly scheduled time of Political News Time, which is 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, I'm on Eastern Standard Time. And I was up fairly early today, so bear with me. Anyways, tonight I suppose we'll talk about quite the tweet, which is trending as of tonight by Terry Crews. Okay, so I'm just going to read the tweet to you, and then I'll tell you my thoughts on it. And I might not tell you my thoughts on much of anything else because I am kind of sleepy tonight. Just give me a moment. Here it is, Terry Crews. And my mom loves Terry Crews, by the way. I like him too. I think he's overall a really good guy. But here's what he tweeted 13 hours ago. And for some reason, this is incredibly controversial, but it isn't to me because I have foreseen something coming. This Black Lives Matter political movement, which has strayed tremendously from what the initial core beliefs, or what I thought the core beliefs were, at least from my perspective, is a symptom of what Terry Crews is kind of alluding to. But I'm just going to read the tweet. He tweeted 13 hours ago, "If you are a child of God, you are my brother and sister. I have family of every race, creed, and ideology. We must ensure Black Lives Matter doesn't morph into Black Lives Better." I mean, this could be read on a multitude of levels, but what I'm going to say is that I think Terry Crews is referring to something that I have dubbed as the racial inversion effect. At one point in time, I actually had a video posted in regards to the racial inversion effect, which, it's funny, when I was younger, I figured that this may happen, but it could at least theoretically happen and be in full force by the time we hit the year 2022. Basically, I'm talking about white becoming black, black becoming white, everything becoming opposite of what we knew it to be up until this year. Why that would happen? Some may say karma, some may say a specific conscious agenda, some may say Mother Nature, some may say that it's some sort of a cyclical phenomenon that goes back to the creation of the Mayan calendar. I'm getting a little too deep here, but it's possible. I mean, look, when I look at racism, I thought that we were moving in a direction to where racial issues were being null and void, but apparently not. And I think it's because people are living too long also. You have a lot of the older generation who want to ensure that their racist beliefs, which oftentimes are tied into their spirituality, are passed on to the younger generation, which is a shame. Because by nature, I don't feel that this younger generation wants to embody such beliefs, but it's being forced upon them. Now, this coronavirus could theoretically wipe out that older generation, which is what they fear. And I'm surprised it hasn't happened more so yet But, So that's what I wanted to talk about tonight anyway. Terry Crews, in my opinion, he's on point. What he's saying is that it doesn't need to get to a point to where what's defined as black or not white doesn't need to be assigned a label as being somehow elite in comparison to what's not black. He's proposing equality, an equal playing field. Terry Crews is an idealist, though. He really is. And you can tell he went through a lot of crap. And it took probably so much willpower for him to maintain the mindset that he does put on public display today. So more power to you, Terry Crews. I like you. My mother loves you. And you are loved by so many. However, I think some of what's about to happen that's on the horizon, which is going to be just horrific, has to happen. Not just on the political field, but on the spiritual field. I think that things do at times have to get worse before they get better. And I think part of the energy that's going to be seen as just so detrimental to our society is in actuality going to be a part of a cleansing process that humanity quite possibly has to go through in order to make it to a much brighter place to where we can have a feasible future. Not even necessarily for people of my generation. I might not make it. I got frustrated tonight on Twitter and I went off. I definitely went off. I'll actually tell y'all what I tweeted because I want to know what the hell's really going on. I'm getting upset about quite a few things because just a few months ago things were not as they are now, and I'm pretty adaptable. I stay fairly calm in stressful situations, but it's just getting to where it's like, come on. You know, I thought at least we were going to get the summer off when it came to this coronavirus pandemic. They were saying that the warmer temperatures were going to somehow, stifle the virus a bit. But no, there's a resurgence because of these stupid protests that people go to. And they're just going because they've been forced to isolate for so long. And it's all just a giant social experiment anyway. So I mean, that's what they do. They suppress you, keep you down, basically underwater, and you're like, I really need to take a breath of air. I need to be around some people. So finally they're like, all right, I'll let you up. So a person pops up and they're like, I can finally breathe. Ooh, it's a protest. Let me go. Screw it. Social distancing. What's that? A mask. What are you talking about? That's what's happened. And that's why we have this resurgence now. And I think it's by design. But I got frustrated tonight. Here's what I tweeted, okay? And this is just pure me, okay? I wrote, look, this might be an extermination. I can just tell. Get it? Black lives matter because black people matter to someone or something. The question is, does it matter if black people are preserved or exterminated? Or if non-black people are preserved or exterminated? Which is it? Because I want to know, what is it? Why all of a sudden are you bringing out this jerk named Hawk Newsome, who's trying to do a Shaft impersonation, who's proposing segregation? Why are you doing that, powers that be? It's weird. Newsome? What's that last name? Sounds like a nuisance. Hawk? How's that a name, Hawk? What is that, his spirit name? It's weird. Hawk Nuisance. That's what I'm gonna call that jerk from now. I mean, really. Why does being black always have to be such an issue in my life? This is what I tweeted. I'm so sick of it, because I am. My entire life. Grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood, only black kid, parents divorced, moved to a mixed neighborhood, and I realized I didn't know how to be black. And that's a true story, which one day I will relate. Then I had to deal with employment discrimination as an adult, dealt with racial issues in relationships as an adult, and now here I am at 41 years old doing political news time, having to contend with this Black Lives Matter crap that's scaring the hell out of me. F you, sadistic social experiment operators. Go to hell. Because that's how I feel at this moment. What is this? What is this? I'm going to look at the chat because maybe somebody has an answer. But what's going on, really? Really? Are we going to have extraterrestrial disclosure any day now? I thought that by now we would have had it, truthfully. So if you want to bust out with that, it's not going to shock me. Not at all. Are you going to bring out the second coming? That wouldn't really shock me at this point either. I can't think of anything really that would shock me. Not at all. Not at all. I'm curious as to what would shock some of you. Definitely. But I'm sleepy, and I think this podcast has gone long enough for this evening. I will try to come up with something a bit more intelligible for the next podcast. But today's been a long day. I hope that all of you are enjoying political news time as the show develops. I'm enjoying doing it. I really am. I don't know who watches the show, really. And truthfully, I don't care. I don't know. So have a good night, everybody. Take care. Don't get overly stressed. Earlier this evening, I did conduct another meeting of Adults in Progress, Alcoholics Anonymous. If you're somebody who is doing their best to remain sober, feel free to pop on over to aip-aa.blogspot.com. I looked like hell during tonight's meeting. I wasn't sitting up straight. I was just like, oh, I'm still sober, but I'm making it. But that's how I feel nowadays, because I mean, if this is a social experiment, it is trying to turn the entire society into a bunch of raving lunatics and alcoholics. But don't give in. Don't give in. There's got to be a light at the end of this tunnel. There has to be. There has to be. There has to be something amazing that's going to happen, and that's going to just, make the world such a better place at the end of all this. Even if it is a giant wave of death to where the population is tremendously downsized to maybe 0.5% of what it is right now. As long as a few hotties between the ages of 35 and 45 are left over who are male and heterosexual, I'll be happy. Good night. Farewell. Sleep tight, everybody. See you tomorrow.